tonight's lesson is an MMA lesson because I've got Mason Potter on the line with me. He's he's got a page called the British MMA Scene, but he's actually a mixed martial artist himself. The last time we saw each other, we tried our best to put each other unconscious, but that's an MMA thing. If you don't understand it, you won't get it. But we're actually very good friends as well. And since I last saw you, you actually went to the WFMC European Championships and picked up a medal. Is that correct?
That is correct. Yeah. I think that was February, something like that.
And what color was that medal?
That was a gold medal.
Superb. We're on the line to WFMC European champion Mason Potter. I'm so happy for you, mate. So proud. And the good thing is you're a young gun. You're going to go on to do many, many things. And you can be my little claim to fame when I tell the grandchildren, you know, before the pandemic, I caught Mason a triangle choke. My don't tell people that. It's my go-to submission. But I think I'm happily retired. But you've got it. You've got it all to look forward to, mate. But you're doing great things on the social media side of things, promoting MMA as well as taking part in it. But why did you want to create it's called the British MMA Scene, right? On Instagram.
Yeah, that's the one on Instagram.
We'll put that in the link. Yeah.
So you asked me why I chose to set that up. Yeah. So it was quite a spontaneous thing that just came out of thin air. It was like the end of January, something like that, and I was with. I was actually training at Russell Perks at the time, and my friends from there, Bradley Owen and Macca White, they just said, you should set up a page yourself because you're quite clued up with that kind of stuff. And I was like, I don't really know too much about British MMA though. And he was like, you got time. So after training, I was like, you know what, I might just do it. So it all sort of fell into place. I literally just made the page and I was like, right, I want to be something different to what these typical pages are, because you'll find a lot of pages out there are kind of really mocking fighters and really putting them down and putting a lot of pressure on them. So I just want to be that kind of refreshing page that's kind of giving the amateurs the spotlight that they feel that they might want going into the pro ranks, and just showing some of our fighters a bit of love and just telling them that, we notice what you're doing, so keep working hard.
Superb. I'm loving the positivity. Sometimes the very top level of MMA, UFC, for example, because it's, I think, so polluted with money and trying to sell a product, there's a lot of negativity, because when two friendly chaps like me shake hands, smile at each other and have a joke before we go at it, it doesn't sell the fight as much as people insulting each other. I wish it would, but I think the non-martial arts audience, they just want to see violence and people being rude and insulting each other. And Conor McGregor's gone down that road and been disrespectful to opponents. For example, Khabib, he mocked it. Yeah, and it worked. So I don't know how we can win back the honor of what it meant to be a martial artist, because usually the people that train in martial arts are so disciplined that they wouldn't lose their temper. And even Khabib, who held his temper for so long during the campaign and in press conferences, even he lost it the minute the fight was over, which I think was a sad thing. So I don't know how we can bring back honor and positivity and decent role models. On that note, who would you say is a decent role model from the British MMA scene, or worldwide if you want to go worldwide? But it'd be nice to mention a few British names.
Yeah. So if we're starting worldwide, the names that I think of straight away are GSP, George St. Pierre, Khabib Nurmagomedov, and Daniel Cormier. Absolutely straight up guy. If we're talking British MMA scene, I kind of look to fighters like. Are we talking like ex-fighters as well? People who are retired.
Carte blanche. Yeah.
So Brad Pickett, he's very good pioneer of the sport.
Brad One Punch Pickett, right?
Models. Yeah, I'd like to also say Nathaniel Wood as well. He's actually under the wing of Brad Pickett at the moment. He's got some big things to come. So he's another kind of guy who doesn't really talk too much. He just markets himself however he sort of feels like he has to. So he acts like himself, and that's, I think, the most refreshing thing to see for somebody who's not a casual fan and who doesn't really get attracted to the trash talk.
This topic came up the other night on a completely different subject, but being able to come on and just be yourself. And I think for a sport like MMA, which is so brutal but is so honest, as Khabib says, when the cage door shuts, that's it. It's just you and me, and everything else goes out the window. I think it's a really honest sport, if I can put it that way, because fights kick off in many other sports. You know, in football, people lose it and they have a fight. In MMA, you've just got that all out of the way, and it's like, right, we're gonna do it fight. under these rules. And why not? Absolutely. But I want to ask you about your MMA background. Are you one of the new generation that went straight into MMA, or did you have a foundation in something else?
No, I was straight into MMA.
Okay.
It was
so
a kind of thing
you didn't pick up any bad habits then?
I mean, I picked up obviously a few bad habits on the way, which I've now started to kind of shake up a little bit by training more specifics with like certain coaches now, because I've got myself a new boxing coach, Mark Gibbs.
Okay.
He lives pretty close to me. He has a pretty tight relationship with Joby Clayton. I don't know if you know him, but he's Anthony Joshua's coach.
Right. And,
he's been shaking some bad habits like out of my boxing, because obviously I haven't really focused on specifically boxing as much. I've been trying to be more of like a jack of all trades.
Okay, I like that. But could a bad habit in boxing be considered a good habit in MMA? Because if you come into the octagon and just box, you're going to be your stance is not going to be right to stuff the takedowns. Do you think boxing works in MMA, pure boxing, or do you need to tweak it? And that's interesting that you're working with a boxing trainer, because a lot of pure boxers look at MMA and they say, "Oh, look, they're punching all wrong," but maybe they're punching in a way that is efficient for MMA. You've got different sized gloves, for example. You've got kicks to worry about. So that's interesting.
So if you're asking whether a few bad habits could be maybe blessings in the cage, in the octagon, I think maybe you're right, because I feel like if you're so solely focused on just boxing, then they are going to exploit those things, that it's going to be easy to make a game plan. But boxing is also very effective. An example I like to use is former bantamweight champion of the UFC, Dominic Cruz, really unorthodox fighter. Got a lot of success for being just for fighting weird, basically. And then he came up against Cody Garbrandt, who had a pretty solid boxing background, and boxed for the whole fight. And that was the kind of style that sort of infiltrated Cruz's like weird attitude. And Khabib is fake. Mike Tyson will end him in one punch.
Yeah, that's a comment from 33X, a martial arts expert who obviously has no concept of weight categories or eras and time and different sport. But that's a casual for you.
Problem there.
There's the casuals. Yeah.
There we go. They're coming out.
Yeah. We'll get a few of those as the night goes on. We've got Hedwig Wendell Crumb, who's a recent fan. Good to see them again.
Hedwig Wendell Crumb. Are you a fan of the film Split or something? Yeah, I was thinking that.
It must be a reference that you get, but it's gone over my head.
Yeah, no, it is.
What about the UK versus the USA? And are the USA at a huge advantage because they're out there, everyone wrestles? Like we play football, they do wrestling. And it's just, does that give America's a head start, do you think?
I think if we're looking at what sort of like the sort of complete martial artists now, they really look to use wrestling as like a very as the martial arts sort of base itself off. So obviously before you had things that were really efficient like jiu-jitsu, like back in the day, we'd have like Hoist Gracie and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Whereas now, like, it seems that wrestling's that key background. So the US are going to be at a really good advantage. So when they do wrestle, they've got that background where they can dictate where the fight's going to go, and then it just comes to working on other things and polishing their MMA grappling up, I guess. So I think there is definitely an advantage there because they're a lot more they take a lot more pride in their wrestling, and it's not really that accessible for us. Like the closest wrestling gym to me is like I think 45 minutes to an hour away. But yeah, one of them. Wait, you still there? Right, looks like it's froze.
Yeah, I think we've got a slight bit of interference, but we're with Mason Potter, the British MMA scene. Hope you can still hear us, Mason.
Yeah, I can still hear. Still here. Wait, can you still hear me?
Okay. Yeah, but it seems that you're a believer in studying the different pieces of the mixed martial arts. You're working with a boxing coach. It sounds like you would work with a wrestling coach if there was a coach.
Oh. Looks like we're losing a bit of connection here. Has someone else joining?
We just got derailed slightly, but we're back with you.
Wait, I can hear you. Oh, there we go.
Sorry, Mason. I lost you briefly. I hope you can hear me now. Here you go. Sorry about that. I've got a question that's come in. This is from Dardasha. How do we encourage more females to do MMA? How do you answer that one?
I think it's probably quite convenient that I do sort of put the publicity out there, I guess, because it's quite a represented sport for especially for female, obviously. We boys, a lot of times we absolutely love fighting or thinking we can fight, so it's something that we're quite easily persuaded to try a hand in a little bit. Whereas to encourage more females, in terms of how to encourage them to do it more, I think it is maybe it's very important for everybody to be able to know how to defend themselves. That is a must in this day and age. It's nice to have, and it's a good feeling to have when you are walking home by yourself or with more vulnerable people. So I think you also have to be able to educate people that it's a very healthy sport in terms of, you know, when you take all the punching in the face aside, it's still quite a healthy sport for the mind.
So sorry, mate. I've been in and out, but I take it you answered the question: how we encourage females to take part in MMA?
Yeah, yes. So just to finish that question, it's more about educating the people just how beneficial it is to the mind and for physical health, because there's a lot more pros than cons.
What is the difference between MMA as a sport and general self-defense? And do you think MMA is good for people that want it more for the self-defense side of things rather than as a sport to compete in?
See, when we talk about self-defense, I immediately think about Krav Maga, which is known to be quite an effective self-defense martial art, and it's quite nice if you're, and I can imagine it's very useful if you spend a lot of time mastering that craft. However, wait, back, so there we go, in and out.
Yeah. Sorry about that. You just carry on. You're holding the show. I think your internet's better than mine.
Right. So okay, I'm holding the cards. Yes. So I feel like if you were to learn MMA over Krav, it's just I suppose it's a little bit more for the people with egos out there, it's probably a lot more interest in learning how to punch and kick somebody in the head and fold clothes with people still in them. Whereas Krav Maga's just about literally just diffusing the situation and getting out of there. So it kind of depends what your common interests are. If you're just somebody who, basically, if you're looking to try Krav Maga, go for it. Obviously, as a mixed martial artist myself, well, we're both mixed martial artists here. We're going to advise doing it because of the benefits that it's brought both of us. So my advice is just to whoever is watching this, just honestly try it. I know the circumstances are quite difficult at the moment, but when you get the chance, don't hesitate. It's a brilliant thing to do. It's helped me a lot.
Yeah. Yeah, and how have those circumstances been for you? Have I've seen videos of you training, but you've been training on your own or in twos. Like it's been a quiet time for training, right?
Yeah, it's been very tough. The gym that I was fighting and training out of, they actually put a stop to all the MMA when they returned. They're just more focusing on like taekwondo and eskrima and stuff like that. So it's more of like a martial arts kind of. It is more of a martial arts academy than an MMA gym now, because the MMA is done. So I'm looking to basically get as much training as I can with the right people and just become a product of my environment. Like I said, I'm training with my boxing coach, and I feel like my hands are a little bit more sharper. I'm aware of the bad habits that I'm trying to kick out, as we were talking about earlier, and I'm looking to start up at Renegade Jiu-Jitsu in Birmingham maybe next week.
Okay.
I'm going to be going there.
Is that a traditional BJJ club, or what sort of dojo is it?
It was initially for the fighters. It was initially just like a BJJ gym, and then the fighters would go to a place not too far away called UTC. Whereas now they've kind of brought the two together. So there's striking available there. There's a lot of wrestling and grappling there as well. It's something that an MMA fighter is going to want, definitely, at a time like this as well.
Yeah, I think everywhere is kind of realizing now that it's better to offer everything. And in the early days, BJJ, when MMA was about putting one art against another, BJJ came out on top. But when everyone starts training everything, and if you're a great wrestler with great takedown defense, then you never get to use the BJJ if it never ends up on the floor.
Definitely.
Do you think that MMA has gone through a phase where we are seeing more stand-up striking matches and strikers coming to the front? I'm thinking in terms of John Jones in the UFC. He's very much a striker. I know he has great grappling and jiu-jitsu, but we don't often get to see it because he's so great at keeping things standing up, as is Conor McGregor. I mean, Khabib is an exception, a great grappler, although funny enough, he's never trained BJJ in his life. He's from a Sambo background, but I mean, it's all grappling, isn't it? Do you think there's been an evolution towards the striker, and does that make young competitors want to focus more on their striking? Is that why you've got a boxing coach? I know what you're doing.
So I'm kind of like, I'm seeing like the evolution of striking a lot more now. So I started watching MMA like literally the very end of 2015. It was actually McGregor got me into it. I saw that McGregor knocked out Jose Aldo, this undefeated for 10 years veteran, in like 13 seconds, and straight away I was like, right, we got a shit talking striker, excuse my French, and
that's all good.
I like it. So what I'm seeing now, so obviously I started really trying to like fast track some knowledge, and I was looking back at like the older sort of like generations when Pride was still about, and you have like you've got like the Styles, and you've got like Chuck Liddell, who obviously he had a lot of TKO knockout finishes, but you can just see like the actual like the science of like striking now has evolved massively, and it seems a lot more appealing to those casual fans out there who were looking to watch it, because you're going to have a lot of people who are going to be like, why can't they just box? Why are these two sweaty men rolling around the floor with each other? And they don't, because obviously wrestling and jiu-jitsu in itself is an absolutely beautiful art. However, striking, where
if you know what you're looking at, I suppose, to the untrained eye, it might look like people just rolling around on the floor. Why do I want to see that?
Yeah.
And I think even in some of the UK promotions. I know in UCMMA they throw a few K1 bouts on to give the crowd something to watch on their feet and maybe keep it exciting. But you mentioned that there's amazing strikers in there. Why can't they just box? Conor McGregor is one of the best strikers in the UFC. He did box against the best boxer ever, possibly one of the best ever, and he came out second best, unsurprisingly. If he does the same with Manny Pacquiao, I'm guessing it will be the same result. What do you think?
My prediction for Conor and Pacquiao?
Yeah.
I think that Manny Pacquiao is going to be that little bit more hungrier than Floyd Mayweather. As much as Manny Pacquiao's doing quite well financially, Mayweather saw that fight as a way to, I don't know, pay some taxes and go and treat himself for a few months. Because I mean, I looked at the salaries, and McGregor made 100 million in total when you make endorsements and sponsors, and Mayweather made like 350 million. So it made more sense not to make that fight. So when you think of McGregor and Pacquiao fighting, Pacquiao is arguably one of the greatest boxers of all time. And he's got a lot of money, but he's going to be taken a little bit more seriously because he understands the magnitude of it and what there is to be made from it. Not just publicity, but it's another feather in his cap as well. So I'm saying Pacquiao.
And his style has been more explosive. I think Manny Pacquiao's style of boxing would work better in the UFC than Floyd Mayweather. If Pacquiao had a great takedown defense and could throw a few kicks, you'd have a real lethal mixed martial artist on your hands. Floyd Mayweather is exceptional at playing within the rules of boxing, which allows him to roll the shoulder, cover up using the glove. A lot of things that only work in the boxing world.
Yeah.
But I have to admit, when Conor McGregor took on Floyd with a
problem. There we go.
Thing that maybe Mayweather had never encountered before would bring something to the table. But you can't expect a great all-rounder, which is what a mixed martial artist to be a great specialist in his sport. It would be like saying Conor McGregor is going to run against Usain Bolt in the 100 meters. You have to give the edge to the specialist, and were it in the octagon, I'm sure Conor McGregor would win. What would be an interesting matchup would be if they had a kickboxing match or some kind of rules where you can have 30 seconds on the ground and then stand it back up. But
a kickboxing match
I don't think it's ever going to happen.
Yeah, I think
it would, wouldn't it? And
yeah, I feel like in a kickboxing fight, I think the main thing to really take into account into that fight would be calf kicks. I think people are really starting to notice just how effective they are. You throw a couple of calf kicks, you feel them instantly, and it can be about 7 or 8 calf kicks that can really change a fight. If we just relate back to the British MMA scene, I saw a fight. It was Bellator Birmingham last year. It was Dominic Wooden versus Dave Kelser. He threw 2 calf kicks, and the fight was completely different, and he won in the first round. So if Mayweather was to try that kind of shoulder rolling technique in a kickboxing fight,
it's over.
Yeah, and if McGregor was to land one of those calf kicks when Mayweather's so heavy on that front leg, shoulder rolling, he's gonna know about it. His leg's gonna be really sore, and it's gonna really change the fight because I can't imagine that Mayweather's conditioned his shins that much. Yeah, it'd be interesting. I'll have McGregor in a kickboxing fight.
I can't imagine he has. Although you hear all kind of weird rumors about him training with wrestlers. I think I would think you would be right. And the calf kick you're talking about is a strike thrown to the calf of the opponent, right?
Yeah.
And this is an option, I'm guessing, that's open for the southpaw fighter that is facing an orthodox fighter. It's on for both of them, but the southpaw, the left-hander with his right leg forward, is more accustomed to seeing that.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a
and
pretty
being
effective
faced with,
tool for
in a
for a
sort of mirrored
southpaw.
stance.
Mm. Yeah.
Question, silly question time. This comes from Dardasha. What sort of sports comes under MMA? Oh dear, we got the casual fans tonight. MMA is a sport in and of itself. Poor Dardasha maybe doesn't understand that yet. It's only been around for how old is MMA now? Is it 30 years old yet? Maybe not. How old is
Well,
MMA?
the UFC was 1991 or 1993, I think. It was one or the other. So nearly 30 years old to America. Obviously, you
Yeah,
had like
to
like
America.
Pancrase and like Vale Tudo and stuff like that. But to America,
Yeah,
it's very fresh, and obviously people are still learning about the sport.
yeah, yeah. I can't imagine what it will be like in 50 years time. God willing, we're around to see it. It will have evolved and evolved, and I don't know. Maybe they'll just be fighting each other with their mind. We haven't
Telepathically.
got that far yet. But look, yeah, why not? Did you ever? I mean, completely off topic. Have you ever seen when Darren Brown went to I think a boxing gym, and he just sort of goes like that, and the guy acts as if he's sort of taken a body shot.
I haven't seen it. No, I'll have to look
He's
that
kind
up.
of
Is that Darren Brown?
look it up. Darren Brown's a great Darren Brown, the magician, UK magician, goes to a boxing gym and he makes the guy believe that he's hit him without touching him. But let's go there then. For the last 5 minutes, we'll just talk about mind games and the psychology of
Let's go for it.
martial arts. How do you stay calm when you get in the octagon or on the mat? Because I'll be honest with you, we've been rivals, and I was bloody nervous every time, and I am anytime I step on the mat, on a ring, anywhere. Even though I've done it many times, I know that it's relatively safe, but I get those nerves, and maybe you need it, but sometimes it can overcome you. So, what tips would you give, like the newcomer who wants to do this but is feeling that anxiety about competition?
Yeah, so anxiety within the sport or without the sport, it's very real. So it can be, people cope quite differently in terms of how to control that. One way I sort of kind of try and approach it is to remember why you're doing it. And at the start, it's gonna be a hobby because you enjoy doing it. So if you're not enjoying it, then there's not going to be much point you doing it. So it's all about knowing why you're there and just being fully aware what it is you are getting into. Because as much as you have to expect the unexpected, you also have to be able to remind yourself that, okay, this is a fight. We're going to fight now. I feel like my attitude's changed a lot since I last competed. Like I remember when I went to WFMC in February. It's kind of funny because that was a grappling comp, and I had 10 seconds to prepare for that because some French guy didn't have an opponent.
But so you went into represent Great Britain at 10 seconds notice.
Yeah, I was like,
Superb.
How much does he weigh? And it was
Superb.
like 77, 78. And I was like, all right, I'll weigh 74. I'll go in there with him. And
big boy,
and
man. So you actually went a weight category above, because they cut it off at 75, don't they? So you were actually fighting a guy weight above you.
Yeah.
Very good, man.
Yeah, he's
very
good.
good.
A little bit above 75. But I went in there and I felt pretty calm, and I just enjoyed it. I had fun, and that's the most important thing. I didn't really care one bit about the eyes around me. I thought about it a little bit when I had him in this Von Flu choke, but because I could obviously hear everybody saying to me, he's going blue, he's going purple. But I'm like, all right, leave me alone. This is me and him in here, not you guys.
Yeah, this is the moment. Yeah. Wow, superb, man. And Jamal Samiev is saying a great bit of wisdom: winners never quit. Yeah, that's I think a bit of wisdom there. Well, look, Mason, you haven't quit. I haven't quit, but I think I've retired. I'm semi-retired. If you offer me £10 million,
I know that. It's gonna happen
I think we'll always feel like there will always be one more. But you have to promise me you'll make another appearance on this channel. We'll put the link to your great Instagram page in the description of this video, and we'll do it again, mate. Thank you so much for joining me, and well done
thank you very much for
on
having me.
being
Part
a
two would
champion.
absolutely be amazing. Yeah, it'd be a pleasure to come back. Yeah, thank you very much for having me.
Superb. This has been Lessons for Life. That was Mason Potter, WFMC represent European champion.
Yes.
Superb.
In fact,
Chat soon, my friend.
I've actually got
wait.
something.
Here we go. Here we go. This is like surprise. Where's Cilla Black?
It was just quite.
What's he
going to
bring out? Oh, yeah. Bit of advertising. That's the British MMA scene on Insta. Link in the description, and you'll find lots of interesting posts on there. It's been Lessons for Life, and we'll do it all again soon. We were here. We're gone.
Thank you very much for having me. Take care.
Later.